Amber? Sam, if you'll join me. Father God, we just come to you now and we just thank you and praise you and give you glory for this wonderful snow that you've blessed our land with. Lord, we ask for more and we just thank you for your continued blessing. Father, we trust in you and we know that you have everything in control, and we thank you for that. We thank you for being our rock and our foundation. Lord, I pray that you are with these leaders as they make decisions today. Lord, please bless these commissioners with your wisdom. We ask that you protect each and every employee of this county and their family. Lord, we just thank you for the men and women that are serving to protect our great country. We pray a special blessing on all of our national, state, and local leaders, Lord, during these trying times. And again, we just trust in you. You have our faith. We just thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico, be a symbol of perfect friendship among the United cultures. Okay, so our first item of business, we need to elect a new chairman for 2021. Anybody have?
I'd like to make a motion that Ms. Dixon be the chairman for 2021.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Me. Do you have another nomination you'd like to make? Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Paul?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Okay, we now need to elect a vice chair.
Ms. Chair,
Yes.
move we elect Shane Lee.
Okay, we have a motion and I'll second that. Anybody else have anything? Okay, we have a motion and second. Dennis, how do you vote? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving on, we need approval of the agenda. I
So-
make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes, the minutes from the December 15th regular meeting.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes from December 15th?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, approval of counts payable and payroll.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anybody have any discussion or anything on these? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are at public requests. Do we have any public requests? I know they had, did we have any on the? All right. Moving on to elected officials and department heads. Clerk's office, Mandy Park.
For getting us through the last month and hope. Well, that her short stint is done. Second, we have an opening in our office to fill the position that I was in, and we are hoping to have somebody in that position soon. We've started the interview process. We have a school board election coming up on February 16th. That is Portales schools and Floyd schools each have a bond question on the ballot. It's going to be an all-mail ballot. And they're going out on January 19th, and they'll come back on or before February 16th. Then we may have to schedule a meeting to canvass that election if it doesn't fit in the time frame for the March 2nd meeting. Lastly, we're participating in the New Mexico virtual NMC conference next week. For us, that includes a redistricting class as a result of the 2020 census. We may have to create a new precinct based on those numbers. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Mandy. Okay, Treasurer's Office, Lael Sanchez.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I would like to report on your general fund as of October 31st, 2020. Your beginning cash was $3,035,321.14. You had debits of $2,236,213.32, and you had credits of $2,459,611.45, leaving your general fund ending cash balance for November at $2,811,923.01. And I will stand for any questions.
Questions for Lael?
I'll be back.
Thank you, Lael. Detention, Mr. Porter.
Morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The facility count today at the detention center is 56. Currently, we're housing 9 females and 47 males. We're housing 7 out-of-county detainees at this time. The total number of bookings for December was 54. The total number of releases was 59. Billing that was sent out for the month of December, we're billing the state $2,325, Union County $13,575, Guadalupe County $2,325, and the city of Portales $1,347.50, for a total of $19,572.50. Transports that the detention center made for the month of December, we made 3 transports to the Department of Corrections. One was made to the men's facility in Los Lunas. We took 4 male detainees. 1 trip was made to the Grants Women's Facility, where we took 3 female detainees, and we had to make an additional trip back to the Grants Women's Facility to pick up 1 female detainee to bring back to the facility. I want to take some time also to thank commissioners and the board and everything for taking the time to come through the facility in December. We appreciate you. The staff appreciate you guys taking the time to come through and visit with them and see the achievements that they're making in the facility at this time. In our academy, in December, we graduated 2. We currently have 3 in the academy right now. We're still practicing COVID-19 protocols, enhanced cleaning using enhanced equipment, and doing testing in the facility. So we're happy to tell you the last 2 sets of testing that we've done, we've had 0 detainees come back positive. So it seems that the process is still working. We're continuing and trying to find ways to improve that. And with that, I will stand for any questions on this. In the next portion, I'll have to present my quarterly housing report. So.
Thank you, Justin.
And then real quick, for our quarterly housing report for restrictive housing, we have no detainees that qualified as restrictive housing for that quarter. Okay. That'll stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Healthcare, Mr. Costa Flores.
Do we need to go into indigent? Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair. If we may go into indigency.
Chair, I'll make a motion, we go into indigent.
We have a motion and a second.
Paul?
Yes.
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 I have 14 claims, medical claims for $2,695.45. I recommend 13 for approval for $2,566.45, and one for disapproval for $129. And that one is for Plains Regional Medical Center. This patient was not a detainee, and I don't have an application on file. The ones approved are for the emergency room physicians, Eye Associates of New Mexico, Lubbock Diagnostic Radiology, and Roosevelt General Hospital. I stand for questions.
I'll make a motion to come out of indigent.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Lopez? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve Ms. Acosta's report. Jane, how do you vote?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Dennis? Yes. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roads, Mr. Lovato.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. We have two crews running in the Sagamore Wind Farm project. Within the next 2 weeks, we should be done with 7 miles on that Sagamore Wind Farm project. And hopefully by the end of February, 1st of March, we'll be done with a complete 11 miles out there. And we've been blessed with the moisture, as you see, and the rest of the crew is out blading and not kicking snow, trying to work the snow into the roads. And that's all I got for today, if y'all have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, Ms. Hamilton.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So a couple of things to touch on in our report. The first thing is that we will need to schedule a special meeting following this one within the next 3 days or so. And I wanted to check everyone's availability because we will need to approve the minutes to be able to have the new signatory authorities on the banking. So this will help with the treasurer's office and accounts payable. So I don't know how y'all's calendars look. I just need 3 of you to be able to be available. We will have one other item of business as the Arch Volunteer Fire Department actually submitted their application for the EMS fund a little bit later. So I don't know how Friday the 15th might look for everyone. We can do it in the afternoon, say like at 1. And we should be done well before 1:30.
I didn't get that date.
It'll be this Friday, January 15th, if everyone is available at say 1 o'clock, if that works, or at least 3 of y'all to where we can come in for the minutes.
I can do that.
Friday works.
And it for sure needs to work for you too because of
It can
signatory.
work for me.
It has to go back on though with the minutes for the bank. And yes. Okay, thank you. So we will shoot for that and I will send out a public notice. Thank you. Okay. So the next thing is we have received our initial First, approval for the FEMA application, and this was again hard work by Carol and Lily up in administration. They've got the first application in. It was an approximately $8,000 in reimbursement. We're primarily looking at being reimbursed for overtime in the sheriff's office and detention center during the COVID-19 response. So that's going to help both departments in that way. We are working on our next round of FEMA applications. We will have some equipment and some additional overtime to be able to do. So we're continuing to work through those. We have insurance updates. As y'all are aware of the claim that started last June as a result of the hail storm. So we have 3 trailers and 1 transport van and 1 vehicle to be painted. And then that will complete our fleet repairs. We've been tracking those closely, and at the time we get those completed, then we will submit to the insurance company for reimbursement. It'll be approximately $200,000 in damage reimbursements that we will seek at that point. We're trying to do it all in one payment for the ease of the insurance company. So we have started work on the buildings, as I'm sure you've noticed with some of the staging as they're getting ready to start the special events center. I believe they swept off the snow yesterday, just trying to prepare the roof to start with that process. We have completed the repairs at the district attorney's office, the extension office, and here in the Jake Lopez. This was completed last week. We are approximately 75% or more done with the courthouse. They needed to order in additional materials, and then now with the weather delays, we're waiting for it to warm up. This is one thing that we deal with on a lot of these roofs, as y'all are aware, is getting it warm enough. We're approximately 50% complete on the detention center roof repair as well. And we will continue to work through. They will be starting the public health center. They have completed Los Abuelitos. We just had to circle back and do some work on some gutters and things like that. So we're working through each one of our building repairs as we go. And those are all being paid directly by the insurance company. The county is not involved. Whereas with the vehicles, we had to pay and seek reimbursement. The buildings are not that way. The insurance company is paying those vendors directly for those repairs. I wanted to also mention, I'm sure you've seen your emails where you've received a notification that registration is open for the New Mexico conference, New Mexico Counties Conference. It is all online this year, and so that is going to be a little bit different. But they do have sections specifically for commissioners. They have several workshops and such. So if any of y'all are interested in attending, please let me know, as I'm happy to get you registered. Once you're registered, you will get a unique link that you will have to click on to get into each one of those Zoom meetings. So they will send it to you. Commissioner Savage, very similar to what we did with BIPO, where you got that and went right in. So you do have to pay to be able to attend an affiliate meeting or anything. You can't just come into any meeting. You have to, and it's $75. So please let me know if you wish to attend. We do have budget available if you do. The next thing is, of course, the legislature kicks off remotely January 19th at noon. Obviously, we do have some very grave concerns about access for our public, especially in our rural areas where we're dealing with different struggles and everything. We have been I've communicated with each one of our legislators just to share our capital outlay list that y'all have provided, as well as giving them just a few things that we're concerned about. They're very well aware of our work within the qualified immunity and everything around that bill, but I did provide them with various materials on that so that they were well aware of what the county was looking at potentially in terms of negative impact of such a bill. So we've had various communications. I know myself and Commissioner Greider met with Senator Engel yesterday, and we're able to speak with him on several of those concerns as well. And so we're just making those direct contacts with each one of those representatives as we can, but they are well aware. And so we're going to continue to work with that. And again, we've offered any support we can for them, as this will be a challenging time, we understand, for the legislature too. So if they need any information or expertise, we said we were willing and able and standing by to help in any way we can. We are continuing to monitor Roosevelt County's gating criteria. And if you look at statewide, we're looking at a statewide percentage of approximately 7.47. So to me, those numbers look really great. For Roosevelt County, it's December 15th through the 28th. The state provides their cases per 100,000 of 94.80, and our positivity rate is 26.25. As you are well aware, the issue is the multiplication factors that the state feels like they need to have in place to multiply. When you actually look at what we're testing out for our actual tests, that have been completed for Roosevelt County, it's 15,231. Our total cases are 1,640. Again, this is as of yesterday. So our positivity rate is actually 10.76 in actual population impact. Our total deaths are 35. So we are looking at a 2.13% death rate, which is well below a lot of other areas. So sometimes the numbers sound a little startling, and I wanted to really break those down for you and let you know what we're looking at closely. There is no way to accurately track. We tried setting up spreadsheets and really tracking so we could look at this red to yellow to green. The problem is that we've been informed by the Department of Health. They actually try to take those tests and those positivities and attribute them back to when the test was actually collected rather than the day we're actually all getting those results. And as we know, some of these results are taking up to 7 days at the detention center alone. So there is no accurate way for us to track it closely within that 14-day window, which is very troubling for us as counties because we're all now supposed to be responsible for helping bring this down. And it's very hard to find a workable solution to this. So at this point, it's about education and awareness, and we continue to walk through this struggle. The next thing that I did want to share is just a little bit of an economic update, and I did share this with the commission in December, but just to highlight, we are receiving the quarterly economic summaries from the Economic Development Department out of the state. And the first thing that they highlighted is the 3 months making up fiscal year 21 quarter one were the worst 3 months of the state's economic impact from COVID-19, comparing gross receipts data with the same period a year ago, despite 14 counties experiencing a year-over-year increase. The impacts were significantly worse due to lapsing federal support and no new federal aid package. Importantly, the federal bonus for unemployment benefits of an additional $600 per week had expired, reducing customer spending power. In Roosevelt County, we've seen significant growth due to construction utilities, as we're aware with the Sagamore Wind Farm. That has been completed, so those numbers will begin to return to a normal level at this point, or lower, as we're aware, due to the economic downturn that we've experienced. Specifically in just some key industries in agriculture, fishing, forestry and hunting, information, manufacturing, and of course, mining, quarry, and oil and gas extraction, we have seen a sharp decline in gross receipts tax collected. We did again see increases in construction of 677%. Again, that is a one-time type performance we understand with this wind farm, and we do not budget long-term operational costs on those construction. The commission has worked really hard to actually utilize that for our capital outlay. Utilities has seen a 66% increase as well in that quarter. So I wanted to highlight those. And then, of course, as a state and in Roosevelt County, we've seen a significant increase in initial unemployment claims, which can be a early indicator of the economic downturn. The unprecedented uptick in initial unemployment claims is tied directly to the pandemic and subsequent furloughs and layoffs by affected businesses. And so we are seeing those unemployment weekly numbers claim. And again, this data was only through the 14th of November, but we are watching those very, very closely. I have one other set of data just to share, and we were looking at the oil and gas, specifically in our county. So we're looking at negative changes on average of about 21% in natural gas volume for Roosevelt County from 2018 to 2019. And then from 2019 to 2020, we're looking at another significant drop. We have 2 more months to come, but on average, we've had some months that have dropped anywhere from 51 to 63% in collection of natural gas. So we're watching those numbers closely as well. And then they also provided information on the value. And of course, we're seeing about an $800,000 decrease in value on those volumes that have been collected at this point. And that again is natural gas. As far as oil volume goes, we've seen a decrease of about 110,000 on oil volume, and I'm happy to share these with you. I just didn't want to share it without some kind of explanation. And then also on the volume, of course, that's the sharpest decline that we've seen in the market, but we're looking at about 14 million less at this current standing. And again, we have 2 months left, which it's been producing about 1 million. So we still should see a shortfall potentially of about 12 million in oil value. So I will share these stats with you, but I wanted you aware of what we were providing from the economic development standpoint. And that is all that's on my list, Madam Chair. I would stand for any questions.
You have any questions?
Madam Chair, I can just jump on to the commissioner's line item and just ask the questions right now. That's okay. Just kill two birds with one stone. Or we can go on to the commissioner's line item. That's fine either way.
Do you want to go ahead?
I have a couple of things to address with Amber. Real quick, have we found out who replaced Tim Parker with DOT?
They have not hired a replacement. They are still advertising.
Okay, as soon as they hire someone, I'd like to either invite them to come here or maybe us go there and kind of do an introductory meeting just to continue that rapport with them. And also, although the project that they did on our behalf wasn't fully 100% what we wanted, the fact of the matter, they did still take initiative and they did some work that a lot of people are happy with. So once they complete it and stripe it, and it's how can I put it? Just completed. If there's any way we can send them a thank you letter, please. And the other thing, it's 2021, and just update on Boston and Lime. Do we have any update on that with the city?
I did meet with the city manager and we discussed it briefly. He does not currently have it in this fiscal year budget, but they are looking at some various things with the council. And then if not, they will continue to advise us, but they are looking at some different figures. So it is not in place at this point. We talked about a tentative timeframe, and once they're able to secure the funding and determine their budget allocations, then we'll move forward with scheduling that one.
Okay, because we're looking at April, May as the ideal time to do that type of road work, right?
Just to begin, but it stretches well into October, and so we have a wide time frame to go. We have other projects that are going to become a priority, and so we'll have to schedule around those.
Okay, thank you, Amber.
Amber, do you have any?
No question.
I'd just like to take this time to congratulate you. I don't have fact checkers, but I believe you might be our first lady chair. And I wanted to congratulate you for that.
Thank you very much. All right, there's no further questions. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Actually, I did have it on my list, and I apologize. I'd like to also welcome Commissioner Savage. He's well known in our community. He's taught a lot of people in our community. I know my brother-in-law, Jerry Woolley, made sure and told me to send out a hello to you. I guess he was one of your students. So just welcome to the commission. So welcome to the commission, and look forward to working with you these next 4 years.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, commissioners, does anybody have anything? Y'all got anything? Mr. Savage, you have anything? All right. Moving on to old business. Item A, Commissioner's Annual Report of Detention Center Inspection on December 15th, 2020.
The view that were present, we just need an oral report so that our county clerk can record it in the minutes as your annual inspection.
Yeah, I went on that and it looked great. I mean, he did a great job. I'm very impressed about the way it works so smoothly and it is so clean. I just want to thank you very much for all your hard work down there.
I'll add to that by saying we got a tour of the kitchen and they've done a lot of work in there on their safety and health inspection with all the stainless steel. The new washers and dryers looked awesome, put in real nice. I think that'll save a little time for y'all. And the biggest thing I thought is Justin's implemented a little deal in front of each cell that is on a general system that when he goes up, he can read it from his handheld device. I don't know what y'all call y'all's. They'll know who's in there, how often they've been checked, and what they need to be watching for. So that was a really nice deal. I think will save the county a lot of headaches.
And those tablets that they all got, I thought those were pretty awesome. Mr. Greider, you have anything?
I had a scheduling conflict for that, so I do apologize for not being there. I, in the past, have toured it at many, many occasions, and I know that the improvements have been tenfold from the last time that I toured it, so I'm sure it's even gotten better. So thank you, Justin, for what you do.
All right, moving on to new business. 9A, ratification of Matthew Hutton signatory authority for January 1/12/2021 accounts payable. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioner. So very much like we handled a prior outgoing commissioner, we're just asking for signatory authority as he was the authorized signature on those accounts. And we had to issue payroll and accounts payable as standard practice. And I would stand for any questions.
Sure. I'll make a motion that we ratify Mr. Hunton as the authority signature for January through January the 12th, 2021.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item B. Discussion of possible action to both chair and vice chair as authorized signatory officials for bank accounts with JP Stone. Do we need to read all of that? Okay.
Since this is a formality that we go through every year, I move to approve agenda item 9B as stated by our Madam Chair.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just opposed not to get to hear Lil. I like her.
I'll stand up and talk all day just for
That's
you.
what I wanted to hear, Lil.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Leo. Okay, item C, discussion of insurance premiums for 2021 and selection of deductible amounts. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners, so included in your packet was the request from the New Mexico County's Insurance Authority. They had asterisked what we had requested as deductibles in the past, along with those annual contributions that we will be looking at. At this time, I do not recommend any changes to the selected deductible amounts from what we have done in 2020 to 2021. The only other item for question, we did accept the land use coverage with $20,000 per claim and $20,000 aggregate coverage in years past. They are offering land use coverage as described in endorsement 3 above, and it's mandatory to participate in the coverage provided by this endorsement. So there will be an additional contribution for land use of $15,000 for that. Other than that, I would stand for any questions on this, and I would ask for your approval of standard rates.
I'll make the motion to accept the standard rates as presented by Ms. Hamilton.
I'll second. Anybody you have a discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item D, discussion of possible action to approve 2021 Roosevelt County Committee assignments. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, ma'am. So again, included in your packet is the list of the potential pending committee assignments for 2021. Commissioner Hutton was serving as the elected representative for the NMCIA pool board as an alternate. With me, we would need to fill that position. He was also serving on the local growth management committee. And of course, I have inserted Commissioner Savage in the finance board and the land use. And he also brought forward two of his nominations for the Board of Ethics, which does favor from years past. You will notice that we no longer have a labor relations board, as we have not at this point dealt with unions, and the state passed a new law last year, basically eliminating such labor relation boards as what was present here in Roosevelt County. So we would have to utilize the state labor relation board at this point. However, there's no need for a local appointment. So obviously, these appointments are also subject to change. Some of y'all may wish to swap committees or change up the variance. So this is all up for discussion. We can make any changes that are necessary, and then I will just ask for approval with amendments, and then once I have it finalized, I can make changes and then have you sign the official one.
Okay. Does anybody have anything on here they wish to change or add? Or?
I'm fine.
You're fine too.
So we need someone to serve as an alternate on the New Mexico County's Insurance Authority Board. We need another representative on the Local Growth Management Committee. That is something that has not been meeting typically, but we still need to have a placeholder there.
I'll do either one.
The New Mexico County's Insurance Authority Board, we just need an alternate in the event I can't attend.
Okay.
And it can be a staff member. It doesn't have to be a commissioner. It was just Commissioner Hutton was also serving on the board, so it made sense for him to be the alternative.
And so the LGMC is still in existence? Is that what you mentioned, the Local Growth Management Committee?
We've been advised that it is still there. It's just that they did not have a meeting at all in 2020.
Yeah, I partaked in that for a lot of years during the whole BRAC thing, and they were very, very active, but I haven't heard from them in a good while already, so I didn't even know that they were still in existence.
Commissioner Dixon, did you say you would be happy to do either, so I could put you down as an
I
alternate?
would do either. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else on it? That fills all the spots, right?
Yes, ma'am. We
All
just
good?
need approval for the list with changes noted. And
I'll make a motion to approve with changes noted.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Okay, moving on to resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Item A, consideration of resolution 2021, compliance with New Mexico Open Meetings Act. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Commissioners, so there are several of these that are standard that we look at every year. You have this in your packet. The only change that we did add, both myself and County Attorney Mr. Knudsen discussed the need to add something specific to COVID-19, where the mass gatherings have been prohibited, and how we would have a variance of public comment and public participation and continue to ensure that our public can participate in our meetings. So that last paragraph talking about all members of the public will be able to attend and listen to the meeting via YouTube at the link published, and public comments can be made via email and entered in or read into the meeting minutes if less than 3 minutes by emailing comments to my email address. All of that has been added, but otherwise it's very standard as we've done in years past.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2021-1, compliance with Open Meetings Act.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Dennis?
Yes.
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 Okay, motion carries. Okay, consideration of resolution 2021-02, public participation at Roosevelt County Commission meetings. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chair, again, standard. We want to ensure that the public has the ability and the framework of how to properly participate in each of your meetings, and that is highlighted here. There were no substantial changes to this.
Madam Chair, move we approve resolution 2021-2. Second.
We have a motion and a second, but I would like to ask one question on it. On the second page, on line 1, item B, where it says that people may not be argumentative. I don't understand that. If they're speaking and we're not speaking back to them, I mean, if they're saying something that is not something we agree with, is that argumentative? Because I mean,
I think what this is referencing is personal attacks. If somebody comes in and talks about you personally, as the chair of the commission, we shouldn't, in order to keep order and decorum in the county commission meeting, we can prohibit that.
okay. All right, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
motion carries. Okay, moving on. Item C, consideration of resolution 2021-03, delegation of authority to the county management for dispersion of vendor checks. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So again, no major changes from prior years. This is just the disbursement. The only thing that I did add was the New Mexico Environment Department as another debt service payment, because we do have those, that potential loan pending that the commission has approved. So that would be another authorized debtor to release the payments to. Other than that, I would stand for any questions.
Approve agenda item 10C, is presented resolution 2021-03, delegation of authority to county manager for disbursement of vendor checks.
We have a motion and a second. Shane?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 5 yeses. Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. Okay, item D, consideration of resolution 2021-04, delegation of authority to the county manager to enter in certain contracts and settlement agreements. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So again, no substantial changes, just for revisiting for our new commissioners. So any new contracts will always come before the commission. Contract renewals of less than $60,000, I will sign off on and bring to the board as necessary. All procurement will be made according to state procurement code and our resolutions and policies set by the county. And other than that, there is nothing else to revisit. There were no changes on this one either from here.
Madam Chair, move we approve resolution 2021-4. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Paul?
Yes.
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 5 yeses, motion carries. Item E, consideration of resolution 2021-05, declaring an exceptional drought and fire danger emergency in Roosevelt County. Ms. Hamilton and Commissioner Lee.
So before you is just the resolution that was set to expire. It was renewed in December of 15 or December 15th of 2020, and it needed to be renewed prior to the next meeting set forth in February due to the exceptional drought. We did add some alternative language or some exception at the direction of Commissioner Lee for the commission to consider. And that is in the first paragraph where it is hereby resolved that all of these the Roosevelt County is prohibited pursuant to the provisions contained within Ordinance 2014-03, with the exception of agricultural burning, which shall be permitted. And we made those notes. I did that in conference with County Attorney Knudsen to allow for the agricultural burning that Commissioner Lee said. And I'm sure he wants to speak to that, but just to clarify, that's the only change in this.
Yes, I brought this ordinance to the commission back, I think, November. And it was to help our local farmers and ranchers with some drought assistance with the weather like it was. But in that resolution, I was not aware that there could be any type of burning. And I've had numerous calls since then of people trying to get ready to clean up places to farm, to take down old structures for farming use. And so I asked Ms. Hamilton to look over it and see if there was something we could do to allow agriculture burning. And her, Mr. Knudsen, come to this new resolution.
Okay. Anybody have anything on this?
With that, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept Resolution 2021-5, declaring the exceptional drought. Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 5 yeses. Thank you. Okay, item F, consideration of resolution 2021-06, setting fees, rates, and costs for Roosevelt County. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chairman and Commissioners. So this is just the resolution that we tend to have. We did not have a renewal in 2020. This will be one that carried over from 2019. I did send this out to each of the departments and elected officials, received some feedback, but this just sets fees and rates and costs for those public records that are requested from each of our offices. We do post this online, and this is what we follow, of course, with any kind of inspection of public record or any document request through each of their offices. I would stand for questions.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to accept Resolution 2021-6, setting the fees and rates and costs for Roosevelt County.
I'll second. Mr. Greider?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
I know. Got the air conditioner on.
G, consideration of resolution 2021-07, authorizing the assessment of the authorized officer and the assignment of authorized officers and agents. Ms. Hamilton.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So this is a follow-up resolution that's required from the Environment Department for the loan that we're looking to enter into. Our current resolution for signatory authority is not specific enough for their needs for their specific loan. So this one was provided. I did review this with the county attorney. Sorry, just went blank. So I would stand for any questions.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Lopez? Commissioner Savage? Yes. Commissioner Lee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. 5 yeses, motion carries. Item H, consideration of resolution 2021-08 in support of life. Angie Smith. Do we need to go into public hearing?
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair. Thank you so much for having me, and Ms. Hamilton, thank you for getting us on the agenda as quickly as you did. We were caught unawares about the change in the usual meeting times, and so when we found out just not that long ago that it had changed from what it would normally be, we had to really scramble. So thank you for helping us with that. I'm very grateful. My name is Angie Smith. I volunteer with Right to Life of Roosevelt and Curry counties. I also sit on the New Mexico Right to Life board. And I'm here to introduce to you something that we've been working on since 2019. When the government tried to institute HB 51, we kicked it into high gear, and we worked very diligently with many New Mexicans that support life to defeat that bill. And I included it in the packet so that you could see it, why we pushed so hard against it. But we were also approached not long after as Right to Life to start seeking a resolution for our community to basically officially announce what we've been for a very long time, and that is a county and a community that supports life. And that's one of the things that I'll hit on here shortly. I have worked with Michael Hendricks, an attorney out of Albuquerque, to make sure that this resolution was completely legal and that it looks nice and it's the way it's supposed to be. So like I said, we've worked very hard to get to this point. So this is about just making a formal declaration again of who the people of Roosevelt County are. We wanted to also step forth and say that I know that it has been said and tried to be declared that 70% of New Mexicans support abortion, and we know that not to be true. And we wanted to help some of the other counties that have also stepped out to say that's not true. Not all, there's not that many that is in support of abortion, particularly all the way up to birth, which is what the repeal, the 1969 law, would essentially do. Should Roe v. Wade be overturned, it is not just going to abolish abortion across the nation. What it will do is kick it back to the states. And that's why you've seen a flurry of activity among states, some moving to make sure that abortion is, quote unquote, protected in their state, or making moves to make sure that life is protected in their state. So we wanted to be a part of that. But one of the things that has been very different, you've seen a lot of the sanctuary cities for the unborn pop up. Even in New Mexico, I've studied many of these resolutions. I am working with Texas Right to Life right now in an ordinance that they're looking to vote on and pass on May 1st. But one of the things that people often forget is that there are some people that are affected by abortion besides the unborn. And that's who we wanted to step up and protect and be a sanctuary for as well. Not merely the unborn children, but their moms, their dads, their grandparents, people that are left with the devastation of a mistake for many, many years. We want to be able to step up and do what we can as a community to say, we don't only support that baby, Mama, we support you, Daddy. We want to be able to help you be the parents that you were meant to be and to enjoy those children because they are truly a gift. So we started doing some research. And one of the things I was most interested in the research, I became far more focused on what is the effect on women that have had abortions. And I thought the information out there would be plentiful. But as I soon came to discover, that's not true. And the simple fact is, women don't want to talk about it. If they're hurting, they don't want to talk about it. And you can understand why. So the information that we would like to use to educate people about how devastating this is, the education that we would want to share with women who may be forced with an unplanned pregnancy and are scared and are being told this is the quick and easy way, it'll be fine, life will go back to normal. We are looking for this information to say, no, there's actually proof that that's not the case. So one of the things that I wanted to improve in your packets, if you've had an opportunity to look at it, is some of what little I've been able to find. Much of it has come through CareNet. CareNet is one of the largest pregnancy resource centers, the one in Clovis and the one here in Portales, the sister PRCs. They are run under CareNet, and they helped me find what little information I could about it. So if you'll notice on facts about abortion, it says the most frequently cited reason for abortion was financial. According to a study, 4 days passed on average between the time a woman first suspects pregnancy to confirming the pregnancy. What we're aiming to do, so many states have instituted the waiting period so that when that first shock happens, they have to take a breather and think a bit through, because many women within a week, they've made that decision to perhaps seek an abortion. And for much of it, it is financially driven. And we as a community, we would like very much to be able to step up and say, if you have financial concerns, we are prepared to help you so that you don't have to go that route. Another part that people do not talk enough about are the tentacles that abortion has. Our executive director of Right to Life has said it before, abortion has tentacles, and they're deep and they're devastating. And they follow women, men for many, many years. And in one of this where it says abortion and intimate relationships, this is a little study, and if you've seen on there where I've highlighted, it says information is generally missing from the literature. There's not even enough studying being done on it, and part of that is because women don't want to talk about it, which is understandable. But you may be wondering, well, what about affecting intimate relationships? We realize that the strongest part of a community is the family. The family is the strongest backbone of any community. And an abortion has a way of affecting devastatingly that family and can break it up. So I'm not going to go too far into it, but I do encourage you, if you've not looked at it too much yet, please look at how that affects intimate relationships between partners. That has an effect on the next one, abortion and parenting. This is another one people just do not want to talk about. Many times I've been told by people, if a woman has an abortion, well then if she has other children, she'll be able to take better care of those children. That's not true. It's not that she can't take care of them, but if you'll notice down at the bottom, the effects that abortion has on parenting, and not just the mom, dad's involved with that as well, whether they were for the abortion or against it. But I would have to say the one that bothers me the most, the one that grabbed my attention on here more than anything else, was number 2. And this is why we're here, to support the moms as much as those babies. Women may punish themselves by not letting go, meaning of the choice they made, and completely enjoying their children. So for women that already have children, and you'd be surprised how many become frightened for several different reasons, that they just can't take another child, they make an instant decision quickly, then they go back to the children they've already had, and it instantly hits them what has happened and what they did. And they plunges them into a darkness. I cannot imagine allowing yourself to be in such darkness that you can no longer enjoy the children you have, or that the children have a parent who isn't enjoying them the way God meant them to be enjoyed. I included also in your packet some interesting information. The one thing I went in about abortion in the church, there's one that jumped out at me as well. It says 51% of women agree that churches do not have a ministry prepared to discuss options during an unplanned pregnancy. The good news about that, women are looking for help. They're looking. We want to be that community that says we have the answers, we have the help. And on the last one, I had an interesting discussion with a friend of mine from college. He tried to tell me once that women do not regret their abortions. I knew that wasn't true. I know that firsthand, but the information's not out there. And that's one of the biggest obstacles. And one day, long story short, I asked and I prayed. I said, Lord, I need information. I need information to share with people so that they fully understand the scope, the tentacles that this has. And one day in my email, out of nowhere, a name popped up. And in the subject, it said abortionmemorial.com. Never heard of it, never sought it, wasn't looking for it, didn't even know it existed. And somehow it ended up in my email. And that's what one of the last pages is. It says at the top, Abortion Memorial. This is a website, people that are not just mamas. You'll find daddies, siblings, grandparents, and of course, mamas, looking to express what's on the inside of themselves because they're not ready to come out. So many of them are anonymous, but they're hurting and they need to get it out. I read where one gentleman said, I took my girlfriend to get an abortion and I have regretted it ever since. And that was 50 years ago. So many of these people are, I had one 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40. People are still hurting with the choice. Many people have gone on to forgive themselves, praise God, but that doesn't remove the regret. How wonderful to be a community to protect that from ever happening to any of our citizens ever again. That brings us to our resolution. I don't know if we need to read the whole thing. I know they've read it. I will make it available for our citizens to be able to read it thoroughly. But one thing I would like to draw your attention to, if I may, is the 5th paragraph on the front. It says, this is the New Mexico Constitution. I was really surprised and thrilled when I read this. Whereas from Section 4 of Article 2, one reads, quote, all persons are born free and have certain inherent and inalienable rights, among which are the rights of enjoying and defending life. That is in our New Mexico Constitution. That is who we really are. I did have a chance to visit with 2 ladies. I asked them to write for me quickly a brief statement to back up basically what I've already said. This declaration, this resolution basically would announce what we've always been. We've always been a community that supports life. And these are 2 ladies that are directly connected to that. The New Mexico Christian Children's Home Adoption Agency, A Mother's Choice, is a nonprofit adoption agency that has been serving birth moms and the unborn since 1979. We support birth moms by empowering them to make a well-informed decision that is best for them and their baby. We provide counseling and emotional support for women who are facing an unplanned pregnancy or a difficult situation. Free services for birth moms that choose adoption include counseling, examination options, living supplies, clothing, medical fees, and legal fees. We support birth moms in choosing life and in becoming independent, self-sufficient women, whether they decide to keep their baby or place their baby for adoption. That was by Sandra Caldera, the director of A Mother's Choice. We have 2 adoption agencies in a community of 17,000 people. We have 2 children's homes in a community of only 17,000 people. The last person I was going to mention, and I will close with this. She works as the Client Advocates Director. My name is Hannah Pearson Richards, and I have the unique opportunity to work in a nonprofit in Roosevelt County. This nonprofit supports families throughout their pregnancies and in the early years of their children's lives. It is completely donor funded, and we do not receive any government support. I see firsthand how generous businesses, churches, and individuals are in supporting life in our community. Our community provides monetary funds to keep our doors open, and it provides material needs such as diapers, wet wipes, and other baby needs. Roosevelt County is also home to 2 donor-funded children's homes, which provide family support. In addition, our local hospital does not provide abortions. All of these facts show that the citizens of Roosevelt County already support life. Passing the resolution in the support of life would accurately reflect the stance that our community has already taken in providing a safe haven and resources to provide for unborn children and their families. That was the last thing about the resolution I meant to point out, is that we want to stand with our medical professionals. The repeal of the 1969 Act would make it legal to force a medical professional to participate in abortion if it's against their ethical or moral beliefs. We want to stand with our medical professionals. And on a side note, in 2019, when it looked like this might get passed, and it was defeated narrowly. Many of our medical professionals across New Mexico were already talking about leaving New Mexico. We know we already have a shortage of medical professionals here, and many of them started stepping forward and saying, if you pass this, we're out of here. So we need to stand by our medical professionals. And if they don't feel that that's something that they want to participate in, no one should ever have the right to force someone to do something against their ethical or moral beliefs. Not in this country. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I thank you for your time and your consideration. I'm very confident that you all will support this. Thank you.
Do y'all have any questions? Anybody?
I may have missed this, but what prompted? About that.
No, sir.
I may have missed it early in your presentation, but what prompted this resolution? Is there something up in legislation this session that's going to be similar to what we fought against the last time?
Yes, sir. Are you asking about the legislation coming back? Yes, sir. We have it on good authority that, well, that is why so many of the Democrats that stood against HB 51 in 2019, they were primaried. And 5 out of the 7 Democrats that stood in support of life were defeated. And that's why we believe that the governor will try again to push it, and she's going to try it very, very quickly before people have an opportunity to call. In 2019, they received 10,000 calls to the governor's office alone, and 98% of them were against HB 51.
Also, real quick, I'd like to thank those individuals who are maybe watching this virtually. If not, maybe I'd like the record just to reflect that I received several calls and emails in reference to this, and I would like to thank those individuals for taking the time out to actually, because I do have an open door policy. I speak for myself, and I was very appreciative of that. But another question that arose when we knew this was going to be on the agenda, why is the after morning pill never mentioned in any of this stuff? Fight against abortion, especially pro-life advocates.
Why is it not mentioned?
Why is it not mentioned at all? And it's so easily accessible to so many young women and older alike, but college-aged, high school. And I think that's a huge problem. And
I agree.
I don't know why that's never mentioned, because it seems like if it's used very loosely.
I agree, and that is something that we stand against as well, sir, and that's an excellent question, and I appreciate those that are asking it. To be completely honest, right now, the threat of abortion all the way up through birth to the point of infanticide is probably the most horrific and most unifying belief among people. Even people that believe that abortion should be allowed up through maybe the first trimester, which is when you would see the pill, they stand against abortion past the 20-week gestation time, or the 24, depending on how you're judging that time. We are advocates against the abortion pill, but I think right now, particularly in New Mexico, with the 1969 repeal of that law, or the repeal of the 1969 law, that would make it all legal. The late-term abortions are so incredibly brutal that our focus has been on that, to stop that. However, please do not misunderstand. We are not in any way condoning, nor will we stop fighting against that pill. But right now, there's a bigger fight to keep that from happening. And I would like to add, too, on that front, 76% of women that have an abortion after that 20 or 24-week gestation time, 76% of those women are more likely for serious injury or death. So to tell me that an abortion all the way up through birth is good for the mom, it's a lie. There is no statistical evidence to back that up. And any doctor will tell you that if the mother's life is under some kind of threat, let her have the baby early. It's the best way of saving her life, not just the baby's. Thank you for that question. We're not going to stop with that either. It's just we have this Goliath in front of us first.
Anybody else? Did you have anything, Commissioner Savage? Well, I was going to ask something real quick on this. Commissioner Lopez, I think you two are talking about two different pills. You're not talking about the abortion pill. I think he's talking about the morning after pill that you can take within 72 hours of having sex
Mm-hmm.
to where you don't have conception.
Is that what you're talking about? Are you
The
talking
morning
about
after pill, right? Yeah, but the morning after pill. What do y'all feel about that? About the
We-
morning after pill?
We believe in protecting life from the moment of conception until natural death.
Okay,
So
that's all I had. All right, anybody have anything else? Anybody want to make a motion? Yes. I'll second the motion. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Lopez? Commissioner Savage? Oh, do you want to have a discussion? Does anybody want to have a discussion? Do you have anything else to discuss on this?
Everything to discuss, but I'd like to thank you and all the men and women. I'd like to thank you and all the men and women that this resolution.
thank you.
I think so too. Okay. Okay. We got them down here ready to vote. Do you have any other discussion you would like to discuss, Mr. Savage?
I have no further discussion of it, Madam President, other than to say I rise in support of this resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also believe that life begins with conception.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see how we can, as our fathers mentioned, we endow with certain inalienable rights. But only is the right to life. I don't see how we can say that and then Father Home say, secure the blessing of the supreme author of the universe
Right.
for this separation, and then say, no, it's contradictory. If I can encourage a yes vote on this one.
I agree. I agree. Thank you, Mr. Savage. Commissioner Savage. Okay. Mr. Greider, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 5 yeses. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. I will also be sure to send a message asking people to call and thank their commissioners for standing up for life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Item I, consideration of ordinance 2021-01 and ordinance relating to the promotion of ethical conduct of public officials within Roosevelt County and addressing interference by county commissioners and other elected officials. Mr. Knutson. Okay, thank you, Mr. Knutson. I actually have a couple of questions on this. Do we need to enter a public hearing for this?
I'll make a motion to go into public.
Do we need a second on it? Okay, Collins. We got a motion, a second to go into public hearing. Commissioner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we're in public hearing. Okay, is there anybody that would like to speak in favor or against this ordinance? Right. No public comments? Okay. Do we need to come out before I comment? Okay.
Motion to come out of public hearing.
We got a motion, a second to come out. Commissioner Lopez? Commissioner Savage? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're out of public hearing. On this, as y'all know, the first time this came was my first year as a commissioner, and I voted no on it as a whole. But it passed, and on I don't even know what page this is. On number 9 of item C, number 9, no individual commissioner shall speak publicly on behalf of the county without prior commission authorization. I believe that also needs to include like our county manager, because we send her to speak on, she goes up to Santa Fe and things. And I just think that we need to also include her, that she doesn't need to speak on behalf of the county without prior authorization as well. I would like to include that in number 9, no individual commissioner or county manager. It is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, page 7, number 9. Page 7, number 9.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to speak to that.
Okay.
The way I feel, the county manager, whoever it should be at any time, works for the commission and is held liable by the commission. This, to me, ethics deal is where the elected officials are held by the voters. That's why we pick people in our county to be on this board and not other elected officials. If the county manager did something that the commission didn't like, spoke on behalf of the commission, and the commission said, no, we're not, we had the right to remove that person. But as an elected official, nobody can just remove you without a board of ethics people, I would believe. I don't see the use of adding manager, deputies, or anybody hired by the county and not elected by the county to the ethics ordinance.
But
myself.
there is employees listed all throughout this ethics thing. It includes employees all throughout it. It talks about every employee we have. Go ahead. Well, I understand that, but I also, go ahead.
Where are you at on that?
Number 9.
6-9?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My other thing on that is like okay, so we go to Santa Fe or we're on different boards and we're on different things. She also goes to a lot of different things on her own. And I just feel like, I can remember hearing about updates from Santa Fe and whatever that's going on up there. And she can be talking to this person that in support of this bill or that bill. And I never discussed. And how do we know? Because I know that we all 5 have never discussed anything that went up to Santa Fe, whether she's talking on behalf of it or she's up there against it, that we've never discussed any of that amongst us 5, that was okay to go that route, to just assume we all 5 agree that way. I mean, with all due respect, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, if everyone always agrees on everything, then somebody is not thinking for themselves. And I just feel like we all need to discuss. And when we send her, because she goes to Santa Fe and she does things for us all the time. And I just feel like when she goes and she's speaking on our behalf, that it needs to be stuff that we discussed, that we talked about as well. Mm-hmm. I do. And I don't care where it's added. I just feel like that is something too, because I just feel like that when we go to Santa Fe, whether it's our county manager or it's us, when we're going to go defend something or stand up for something, I think it's something that needs to be discussed amongst all of us. Mm-hmm.
Just real quick, just for point of clarification, I can't hear very well, and I think this is a real important agenda item that's on our agenda for today. Surely we're not going to approve or disapprove today, right? We're going to talk about amendments, or were we standing to approve this today? Right. Okay. Because like I said, I could barely hear you guys, and I just want to make sure I'm clear as to where you stand, as well as the rest of the commissioners. All I know in the past, and I don't know if this coincides with anything, but I know that when I went forward with BNSF initiatives, with the DOT initiatives and stuff like that, I would present it to the Board of Commissioners, and you guys would give me the stamp of approval to go meet with these entities. Amber would usually go with me as strong support. And we knew that we had the consent of the rest of the commissioners.
Right.
Is that what we're
That's what I'm
relating to
talking-
right now?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where I'm saying that, our county manager also needs to come, it needs to, if we're going to go to Santa Fe and she's going to go to Santa Fe and she's going to sit on committees or she's going to get up and speak on behalf of this bill or that bill. I just feel like the commission, we ought to be either in support or against. We need to be the voice behind what she's up there doing if she's doing it as Roosevelt County. Because we all have our own districts that we have to listen to and our constituents that we listen to, that we stand up for. Okay.
Why can't we amend it anytime we want?
These are amendments that we have not received. So the only amendment that was presented what the commission had this year before. these were not advertised. And then these are new. So at this point, we would need to.
So we-
provide additional public notice.
We could go ahead and pass this resolution and then come back and do another ordinance to amend and do public.
But isn't that what this meeting is for, is to discuss this and to make more amendments? Because we would do that in a public setting, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in the public has had the opportunity or elected division to consider that. So we're gonna do more.
Right, and I understand that, but so when are we supposed to discuss it?
We had our opportunities. This is the third.
The second,
Second
it was
time.
just brought forth, and so when it was brought before us, then I read it and went through it and took time to go through it and see what I wanted to change, and figured this was the day to do it. Because also in section 7, where it has elected officials' duties, and it says the county assessor, clerk, sheriff, and treasurer shall advise the Board of County Commissions through the county manager on all matters concerning respective offices to include, and it goes on. And in that one, I also feel like any elected official should be able to speak to any other elected official freely, be able to speak freely to each other. I just think that needs to be completely taken out. The whole 7A, elected official duties. And I agree with the changes that you put in there, the red one.
Yeah. So this is more, this is what I mean, anyone who believes that what this was designed for, was just to try to continue to respect the chain of communication, so that if there is something that impacts the budget, it impacts whatever various dollars trust in the day-to-day operation. So there is never a right to pay right off block. If there's something that the treasurer comes and says, hey, I need this, I need equipment, or a person to visualize it, all of that can be so there's no limitation on what before the agenda, or before the commission on the agenda, or the meeting. This was just that everyone stayed in the same flow of communication, and that we ensure every commissioner gets the same communication, rather than one elected official to one commissioner. It doesn't work. So,
Well,
and then one person communication at one level. So we just want to ensure everyone is getting the same communication and the same request.
I think we're interpreting it all differently. I think what I am against is micromanagement.
Exactly.
I'm really against micromanagement. I've been like that straight out of college. So this would probably avoid micromanagement and also keep everybody in the same line of communication. I'm not going to go and try to make a decision with Lael, for instance, without the consent from my fellow commissioners, because that's just, to me, not ethical, and it's micromanaging. But if I feel I need to discuss something just as a commissioner, I shouldn't be prohibited either. We should know where to draw that line and set our own boundaries without it affecting the county as a whole negatively. So
I agree, because I just feel like if Lael, since you're the one here, you get picked on. If, she wants to come talk to me about something, of course I could not make a decision, and I would never even try to consider making a decision without you guys, or give her any, inclination that I might be able to pull some strings or whatever you want to say. And if it's something and we need to go to the county manager, by all means. If it's something that needs to go to the commission, it needs to go through the county manager before it comes before the entire commission. But if she wants to just come and discuss something with me and whatever, I just feel like line that section A, I don't like it.
Madam
Those are
Chair,
the two things I didn't like.
I think that's why we all appointed someone that wasn't involved in the county business, doesn't work for the county. I think that was why we picked the people we picked. Because we have faith they'll make good ethical decisions if something was done that we believe the county manager wasn't, or we believed another elected official did, they would be making the decision, not the other elected officials. That's why I have no problem with this
But it didn't.
ordinance with the board that has been presented before us to be on the ethical board.
But that one that I'm speaking about doesn't even have anything to do with ethics. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with something that might go before the Ethics Commission. It just says that we can't talk back and forth. They can't just discuss any of those things with us. And
That's not how I take it, but
anyway, those are the two things I disagree with. Does anybody have anything? Do you want to table it?
Man, I don't know if
I'm ready to make a motion to, we can always come back and amend it.
I've been through it a couple of times when I've often had provisions for, elected officials to meet, for the purpose of gaining information. That not included in it? It needs to do business, but we can gain it.
No, that's talking about us. Like if there's 5 of us, we just can't do business, but we can gain information, which would not make our quorum.
Okay, look, if I, meet with, Mandy to gain information. And I'm not.
I don't think there's anything saying what she wants to, but when she's also going to go to the county manager and share that same information, so if you back to you, Ron, to this, and that's all I would do.
That's what, I believe the manager speaks to each commissioner individually. That way we are not ever caught in a quorum. And I relate pretty well to sure what I feel. I not do what everyone.
That's how I they can go talk in their information, but they gotta do beyond that. The county manager to make sure that she can make sure that everybody knows that. That's how I do.
Madam Chair, I move we approve ordinance 2021-2.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? And I still want to reiterate at this point that the first point that I talked about when including the county manager in publicly speaking on the behalf of the county without prior authorization.
Are you making an amendment?
I want to, and I want to make it.
I think the next meeting is on the agenda. Jane, the next meeting, she can put her limit on this ordinance. We can go again, put it up to public talk.
Okay.
But we'll have it for it now.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make one more point. And I just thought of it now as the Board of Directors member for the Association of Counties. There's a lot of times that there's hot topics that come before me at the board meetings where I have to relay it to Amber before any commissioner knows about it, because it's hard for me. I don't even think it's ethical for me to poll each commissioner. This happened at the board meeting. This happened. I need y'all to. So it really we have to have some protocol. And I think that was another example. Go ahead, Randy. Right.
I think when you're elected and you're put on to provide supply either this commission or somewhere else, you got the authority, the commission delegated the authority for you to speak. That's what I've understood the county manager.
Yeah.
I agree with Mr. Dixon, Chairman Dixon, that if you guys want to change that, you can certainly let it. I've always understood you have delegated that for you to go up there and speak on behalf of the commission.
Oh, and I agree. No, I don't have any problem with her speaking on behalf of the county because I know she needs to do it a lot. But what I'm saying is like when we're going to Santa Fe and we're talking about different bills that come forward, we have never, ever discussed, since I've been on this commission, not one time ever discussed any of these amongst the five of us and said, this is what we agree to. This is what we want you to be in support of or against. We've never done that.
That has been brought to us. The manager has come to us and asked us, how do we feel about this bill? How this bill would affect us as a county and what we ought to do to help stop or be for it. I disagree with that because I have many times told her, well, I'm not for that bill or I am for this bill.
Okay, I don't remember that ever being in a meeting. I don't ever remember it happening. Okay, that one I do remember. Okay, we have a, I've got it. We've got a motion and a second.
I have a question about this.
Okay.
Mr. Hudson's recommendation on the executive session. Do we have anything down that specifies the penalty for divulging information that occurred, got down to the executive session? I think that is a severe breach of ethics.
Okay.
But and reading this, I say, well, so you divulge information that you obtained in an executive session, and then you let the word get out on that, and then, and it goes to the ethics commission, and big deal, they fine you $300. That doesn't seem much of a penalty.
Could rise to a situation where
well, I agree with that, but I believe personally, it should be more severe. It shouldn't be that we have a right. We should have a responsibility to remove it. Just my opinion. Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? Uh-huh. Mhm.
This is a new instrument that we're starting as per the agency request that members certainly right, Amber? Is that what they recommended a year or two ago for us to implement something like this? So this is all work in progress, would be my opinion. It's something that's less than 2 years old. I mean, as a newly elected commissioner, I guarantee you, we would welcome this opinion.
Mhm. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Anybody got anything? Paul, how do you vote?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
4 yeses, motion carries. Okay, moving on. Item J, do we need to go into public hearing for this?
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
We got a motion and a second. Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Consideration of ordinance 2021-02, considering a tax rebate of a part of property tax due from low-income taxpayers. Ms. Hamilton. Ms. Sanchez.
So if you'll call for anyone that wants to speak for or against, I believe we have.
Okay. Is there anybody that wants to speak for or against this resolution? Go ahead, Lau.
I will. I would just like to inform and update on what this tax rebate is. And I actually oppose passing this rebate. It is for those, it's eligible to those with a modified gross income of $24,000 a year or lower. An individual must file an income tax return. These are some of the requirements for someone who would be eligible for the rebate. They could not have been incarcerated for more than 6 months. The restriction on number of exemptions on their return, there are restrictions, I should say. There is a sliding scale as to what percentage of a rebate that person would qualify for. So anyone who would meet those requirements could qualify to have their property tax reduced. So there is a huge financial impact that would have on our county as far as what you would see in your property tax value. And this does not go unfunded. So what would happen is if you as a commission decided to pass or approve this rebate, then it would go to a special election to the voters. And there's, of course, cost incurred with a special election. I believe it's in the $5,000 range that would be for the county to provide. It would go to the voters, and then whatever amount that would be bypassed for that rebate, then it would go as an increase to everyone else's property tax. So if you make more than $24,000 a year, you would then have to carry the burden of those who did not on your taxes, because the county is still responsible to send our part to the state for that difference of what, say, Mandy's home. If she qualified and we passed this, then say me, I would have to pay the difference between what her rebate is versus where the value of her home would have been had this not passed. Let's see what else there is. We already do have some rebates for seniors who are the age of 65 or older. There's veterans exemptions. There's exemptions for disabled veterans and head of households. To be quite honest, our tax rates are very reasonable, very affordable. So I really do not see the benefit that this would give our county. And I would stand if anyone has any questions. Commissioner Lopez, it comes to us on every odd year. So this is something that we do continually. it is in statute that we look at this and make a decision on whether we want to approve this rebate and take it to the voters to have them to vote on. You know, we did. I want to say it was in 19, and I did not bring those numbers, but it's significant because we are not a wealthy county, and so for a modified gross income of 24,000, it would impact a lot of our residents.
That's somewhere around $11 an hour.
Correct. So you have to be the legal owner, and you have to have filed an individual New Mexico income tax return. You have to be a resident of at least 6 months. Also, I didn't look up to see how many, but there are restrictions as to how many exemptions you have on your return also, to see if you would qualify as well.
Anybody else have any comment? Commissioner Savage, did you have something?
I'm gonna ask, Ms. Sanchez, how would, Mr. Treasurer, how would this impact your workload?
I don't think it would affect my workload at all, because the calculations would be up to the state. So the state would then determine how our rates would look after, to be able to compensate for, if it passed as by the voters, then the state then would look at how the values would be in our county to compensate for the lack on the ones that qualified for the rebate. That imposition would go to the other residents, and the state would calculate all of that. It wouldn't be any additional on my office.
I made a good question. Okay. Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to come out of public hearing.
Commissioner Greider?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, does anybody have a motion or any more discussion?
Based on the recommendation for one member, our common treasurer, I move to provide, different items of business today, ordinance 121,
Second.
Got a motion, a second.
Oh, sorry, Randy.
I believe it just dies without a
It just
motion.
dies without a motion.
Okay,
So I stand put down.
okay,
I stand corrected.
okay. Anybody have any action they want to take? Okay, we're moving on. 11, contracts, agreements, and procurements. A request for approval of 2022 EMS fund application for Melanson Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department. It is present.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, this is a request for approval to submit the 2022 EMS Fund Act application for Mill and Sand Volunteer Fire Department. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the capital outlay award. Aye.